Hey there, rock stars, and welcome to another episode of Rock Talk. Bam! After the last episode, kind of closing out the Primal series, I realized that I've been sitting on something for a very long time that is remarkably similar to Primal in scope and content. We're talking about a series that features dinosaurs in their natural habitat, interacting with each other, and absolutely no dialogue whatsoever. So these are all thematic things that are very similar to Primal that I'm kind of interesting and surprised with myself that I'm just now realizing it, and it's been literally in the background the entire time. That's right. I'm talking about this comic right back here. Oh, the Age of Reptiles. This is a Dark Horse comic created by Ricardo Delgado. Now, you might recognize him as having worked on films such as The Incredibles, Men in Black, and Apollo 11. Well, he created this series of comics, this one being #1 in the series. The first one, Tribal Warfare, is the technical name of this comic. And I'd actually like to go with you today, rock stars, as we unpeel the backing, take out this comic, and take a look on what Ricardo did. How is it similar to Primal? What are some of the differences? And how did this series overall stack up in terms of historical accuracy? So let's take a look and see what we can see on this episode of Rock Talk. Yeah! Alright, first step here, you gotta carefully unpeel the tape. There we go. There we go. And then a trick that always bothers me is getting it out without touching the tape to anything. It's officially no longer mint condition, so I can't sell it for all kinds of money, but to be honest, I would never sell this, so there's that. Just looking at the cover here, we've got a lot going on. We have we've got these two dinosaurs duking it out on the front cover, and it looks like this tiny little insect that's getting roped into the mayhem here, and it looks absolutely wild. I would, as a disclaimer, for those of you watching in the younger persuasion, that this is a Dark Horse comic. There is lots of blood and violence in this comic, especially this one has a lot of gore in it, so keep that in mind, and especially keep that in mind if you're going to want to ask your parents to buy you a copy as well. But if we open up the first page, whoa, open it up to our first page, and we've got our pterosaurs taking flight into the sky. Taking flight into this grand ecosystem. And actually taking a closer look at that pterosaur, it looks like a pteranodon itself. So you actually see on the back of its neck a little bit of what looks like hair, what looks like fuzz, but it's probably an early form of proto-feathers, which lots of pterosaurs have been found with. Now, this comic itself was written in early 90s, 1992, so this is before a lot of these discoveries about dinosaurs having feathers and pterosaurs having proto-feathers as well. So it could have been just artistic license, but that fuzz isn't as unrealistic as it seems. It's actually a pretty good addition. Now we open onto the open prairies, where we have a lone Saltosaurus feeding in the grass. Really unusual, especially because of that shell, that carapace on the back of it, which is, you know, not actually terribly unrealistic, because the fossils of Saltosaurus were found to contain osteoderms, basically big little plates of bone that are commonly associated with animals like alligators and crocodiles. They kind of have this bony armor in place, literally intact in their skin. And so whether or not Saltosaurus would have had a shell, kind of carapace like this is hard to say, but it would have had some kind of osteoderm, some kind of bony dermal covering, which is really cool, really neat to see. And when I first read this comic, I'd never heard of that before. I never thought that sauropod dinosaurs could even have armor like that. So that's something that was really cool, really cool right away. And then Saltosaurus gets confronted by a tribe of nasty looking Deinonychus. Now, you know, none of the Deinonychus have as many feathers as they should have, but again, in the early 90s, this was long before science had any indication of feathers on any dinosaurs at all. So, based off of the back of the book, these are supposed to be Deinonychus, and Deinonychus probably would have been covered in feathers. So that's one thing that's just changed with the times as we've discovered more and more about these animals. Yeah. All right. So they're chasing down the Saltosaurus, and bam! Just kind of nails it right in the neck. And poor Saltosaurus falls to the ground. Now, Saltosaurus was discovered in Argentina, and Deinonychus was discovered in Wyoming in North America, so it's not very likely that these two animals ever interacted with each other, and they were especially found in two different time periods of the Cretaceous. And, you know, you might say, hey, Michael Stone, they both lived in the Cretaceous, isn't that good enough? And it's actually not, because the Cretaceous period spans millions of years, with there being millions and millions of years in between for all different kinds of evolutionary processes to take place. It's very unlikely that these two animals living on different parts of the world ever coexisted. However, I did read that Delgado chose Deinonychus specifically because it is a familiar kind of dinosaur. It's something that we're all very familiar with. So the raptors enjoy their hard-earned feast. But not all is how it seems, because bum bum bum, T-Rex shows up. Whoa! That's right, and then T-Rex stakes them out of their kill. But, oh, there's some raptor retaliation. And then what does T-Rex have to say about that? Bam! Alright, we've got a raptor face-off. It's like a Mexican standoff, but Mexico hadn't actually been created yet, so it's, who knows, raptor standoff. But they run. They run away. And that's what T-Rex would do. T-Rex would just throw its weight around. It wouldn't need to be the fastest animal necessarily, and T-Rex wasn't really as fast as some other carnivorous theropod dinosaurs. But it didn't need to be. T-Rex just had to be the biggest carnivore around, which during the late Cretaceous of North America, it absolutely was. And so being able to just throw your weight around, show up to dinner, and kick everybody else out is a great way to guarantee food without really having to put in all of the danger of going on a hunt like the raptors did. So the raptors show up and they meet their, I'm not entirely sure who that's supposed to be, coming out of the cave and eating the lizard, and like, I'm not really sure what that's trying to say there, but I think that the raptors are up to something. We'll find out. Deinonychus, I guess. I'm using raptors and to shorten Deinonychus because Deinonychus is a mouthful, but these are Deinonychus. And then our victorious T-Rex starts the long journey. T-Rex makes its journey back to wherever it's going, through the forest, and then keeps going there, returning home to its other housemates, chasing off, look at that, chasing off a small mammal. Now, what's kind of interesting is that, you know, basically during the time of the dinosaurs, during the Mesozoic, mammals were relegated to kind of living on the outskirts, scavenging for food like this. All is not well in Tyrannosaurus Town. There are thieves about. The raptors are back and they steal the eggs. Oh no! They make for an escape. Then in the very last panel, they make the jump and T-Rex can't follow. Bum bum bum! Oh, so good. It is a classic. I believe there are a number of other comics in this series. This is just the first one, and I've been meaning to get my hands on them for a very long time, but they are notoriously hard to get a hold of. I've gone to several comic shops and they never have them in stock. It's a very specific order kind of situation, but if there's enough interest, if you'd like to know more about this series and about the other antagonists and protagonists in it, let me know and I'd be more than happy to continue the story, Rockstars. But overall, for the time that it was made, it was such an awesome concept for a comic book series, including dinosaurs that were interacting in fairly realistic ways, and featured fairly realistic creature designs and character designs for these animals based off of the information that was known at the time. Dinosaurs and feathers are just a very recent discovery, relatively speaking. So there isn't a lot in this comic that is terribly inaccurate, other than some of the creative licensing that the artists had to take in terms of how they depict these animals, and also the specific kinds of animals that they are, because Deinonychus, Saltosaurus, and T-Rex were never really around during the exact same time period. But that's totally fine, because the end result is it's totally awesome. It's a super sweet comic book, and I know that my little shaky, page by page of it probably wasn't to your satisfaction, so I would recommend taking a look if you can find it near you, Rockstars. And so yeah, feel free to let me know what you thought, what you think about the dinosaurs featured in this series. What do you think about Saltosaurus? Was it a accurate depiction of this dinosaur or not? And of course, let me know if you'd like to see more of this kind of comic review or other kinds of media review in the future. Till then, Rockstars, take care, keep on rockin', and we'll catch you next time.